All right, so this right here is for the boys. When a lot of guys think about how to win with women, they think that they have to be alpha, be dominant, so that they're the prize. And yeah, your confidence does matter, but the truth is, without some humility, confidence can very quickly turn into cockiness, it can turn into arrogance, and it can turn unattractive, right? And cocky doesn't connect with people. It's performing, it's showing, right? So in this video, I'm going to break down how being humble at the right times might be the real secret to getting the respect, the attraction, and the peace that you want in your dating life. Is if you start showing up like I'm that guy, then she's either going to be forced to point that out more or to try and find fallacies in it. But if you're humble in who you are, it leaves all the space for her to lift you up as much as she wants to, right? Or to see you as valuable from her own lens. I'm going to say this just from having conversations with women. I've had them say things like, I had to prove that he's not all that. You feel me? Because he thinks he is. So now she wants to prove that he isn't. Don't even give them the chance to want to tear you down because they feel as if you think too highly of yourself. If you're being humble, and that's still the way that she feels, okay, then that's on her. And I will also say that some of this comes out of ego on both sides. So her needing to show that you're not the shit is her competing with herself to prove something to herself. But that's not what this video is about. This is about why you should be more humble. So what humility isn't? It's not weakness. It's not begging by any means. It's not putting somebody else on a pedestal, and it's definitely not losing your edge or losing yourself, right? Humility is power with control, right? Confidence with compassion. It's success without bragging. It's accomplishment without overshadowing other people, right? When you can be honest about who you are, what you've done, and then also accept your flaws and still know your worth, you've accomplished being humble, right? You also have to have accomplished something and be somebody that you're proud of being. So the guy who needs to prove he's the man usually isn't, or he's trying to make sure that he believes it as well. The guy who just is quiet, solid, rooted is being humble. So why does this humble approach work with women, and why is it attractive? It shows maturity. And this is actually funny that I'm making this video today because yesterday I spent over 4 or 5 hours with a woman who had no clue how old I was. And she thought I had said I was 20. So she was like, 20 what? Like after a while, probably like after 2 hours of conversation, she was like, so what, you're 20, like 22 or 29? And then I was like, 20, wait, what? Why is she giving me numbers? I never said my age, right? And then she was like, so what, are you 40? And I was like, 40. And I was like, that's wild because I don't think I look like I'm 40. And so I just asked her, why are you answering this way? And she was like, because I thought you said you were 20, so you don't seem like you're 24. So I'm guessing you're like 29, late 20s. But I said 40 because you carry yourself with the humbleness of someone who's older. Get older. A 40-year-old man who has lived on his own, worked a job, you feel me, has a car, like the necessities to be a functional human being. If you've been doing this since you were 25, 28, 30, and now you're 40, you're not really performing for anybody. You're just being you, right? And so she thought I was 40 something years old because of the way I showed up as a mature grown up. And she was like, I don't sense any ego in you. And like she was in my space recording for my podcast, and she was saying she didn't know anything about me. She was like, I'm sorry, I know you told me, or like you sent your information, but like I don't remember what you do. And I was just like, it's fine, I do a lot and it's hard to remember it all. Or some people might have been offended, like, you came to sit down in my space and you don't know who I am. Or I sent you a bio because I asked for information about her and I remembered her bio. So I could have been offended, like, you didn't remember me, I'm not important. I don't care. I didn't care because I know whether or not she knows my accolades, I still accomplished them, and I don't have anything to prove to her. She's not trying to pay me for anything, like to put me in position. So I don't need to perform. I don't need to work. I'm not acting. I would say being humble shows maturity. It also shows emotional intelligence, and that you're not self-centered, and that you can allow space for other people to have the floor that get attention. It shows that you're not trying to outdo everybody in the room. A humble person already knows his value, and he doesn't need to dominate a conversation, an interaction, or one up anybody or act like he has all the answers. And so the reason why this is an attractive trait to have is because it shows that you can be a real person and leave room for other people. If you don't act like you have all the answers, that means you're able to have conversations with somebody. If in relationship with someone and they say, I can't talk to you, or I can never tell you what I don't like because you aren't accepting or aren't receptive to it, then it's not going to work. But if you're humble and you're able to listen to other people, then you're able to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Or you know what, baby, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Like, or I'm sorry that I did X, Y, and Z. I'm sorry that my actions have infringed upon you. If I think I'm the man and I'm leading with my ego, that means I'm not wrong. And even if I was wrong, I'm going to try and justify what I was doing and why I did it. Or the whole one-upping thing. Like, don't do it, dog, especially not with a woman. Like, there's no need, if you're really a man who's on his business, for you to ever try to compete with a woman. And I'm not saying this as if women aren't something to compete with in the sense of capable. I'm saying this as we are two different things. And what you're trying to do and be as a man should not directly conflict with what it is you're seeking out of a romantic partner in a woman, unless you want to be with a man. Like, why are women and men competing against who they want to be with? I don't know, because I don't want to be with myself. So I don't expect you to be just like me. And I feel like this comes from a place of ego and arrogance, with thinking that only my way is right or only my way of thinking is right. Arrogance is going to make you compete. Ego is going to make you compete. But when you start to be humble, you're seeking connection and not validation. You want to make sure that you're staying on the same page, right? So ego will say, she should chase me, right? Humility says, if it's mutual, I'll lead with intention, but I need to know that you're also trying to follow the intentions. Ego says, she's lucky to have me. Humility is going to say, let's see if we align, not just attract. I don't care if you're lucky to have me. Am I also lucky to have you? I'm trying to be in a mutually lucky situation. Ego is going to get defensive when criticized. Humility says, damn, maybe she's right. Let me think on that. And this is why just showing that you're a humble person plants all of these little inclinations of what it would be like to be in relationship with you. You feel me? Because you're going to lead with intentionality. You're going to speak when necessary. You're going to think on things before you respond and leave the space for other people to tell you what it is they're experiencing. Most women don't want to be with a man who's always right. That feels unsafe, because if you're always right, that means if you think you're right and I think you're wrong, there's no space for my voice and my opinion. And if there's no space for my voice and my opinion, there's a lack of safety and security for me, and who is able to grow. You don't have to get it right in the moment every single time, but you have to be willing to try and get it right. And the only way you can even try to get it right is by listening to someone else's opinion or perspective in order to understand it, not just in order to defend why you're right or to tell them that you don't care. That's not safe. These are some signs that you're humble, but you're still a king, right? You can apologize when you mess up, but you don't beg for approval. You can apologize even when you don't feel as if you've done something wrong, because you understand that just because you don't think your action was harmful doesn't mean it didn't cause harm, right? We don't have to intentionally be looking to inflict discomfort or pain on people for them to experience it because of us. So it's okay to apologize. It doesn't make you weaker. It doesn't make you less than. It makes you a bigger person to know that you're not always right, right? If you can listen more than you talk, but when you speak clearly, you know that you're on the track to being humble, because you're not trying to overdo or outpower somebody in the conversation. There's room for your input as well as there's room for my input, right? And this is a big one for a lot of guys. You express your interest, but you don't chase validation. You're not expecting anything. You show up the way you show up for everybody. So I can judge whether or not I like the way you even show up. Like, you're not trying to have her say, oh, you're the greatest, or I love, like, you're not chasing validation. If you don't need the praise, then you're probably on the right track. If you know you're actually putting in effort to be a good person, or to show up as a certain type of person. If you're able to do that without seeking out the verbal approval on a regular basis, you're probably a humble person and you're doing things because you believe they need to be done, not because you believe it's going to win somebody over or make somebody like you more. If you do things strictly in order to be liked more, that is a form of manipulation. You're manipulating people. And manipulation is also a form of lying. Neither of these things are very good for building long-term trust or relationship. Do with that as you will. So, another sign that you're humble and you're still a king is you can respect someone else without disrespecting yourself. You can respect other people's opinions without disrespecting yourself, right? You can respect other people's choices without leaving yourself in the situation, right? And so this looks like someone deciding to do something you don't think is okay. When it comes to dating, right? We're seeing each other and I don't like a partner who exhibits X, Y, and Z behaviors or traits, right? I'm not going to disrespect you and call you outside of your name or say you're less than. I'm going to say, I respect your autonomy and that this is what you want to do, but I find it disrespectful to myself because I know I don't like it and I told you. So for me to continue to stay in this situation, this commitment, and the same rapport that it is, I would be doing a disservice to myself. Do what you're doing. I respect you as a free human being. I cannot respect myself if I stay in the same position with you. Simple as that. And you can lead, but you also take feedback without getting defensive, and you can take criticism without getting upset. Those are signs that you're humble, but you're still a king, because some people look at being humble as being weak or being docile or letting other people rule or take charge over you. That is not the case. It does not have to be the case. Just because you're humble, it just shows that you're not trying to think of yourself first in all instances, because you already know you're going to be good, because you're not going to allow someone to take advantage of you or put you in a position to be hurt, right? So humility is something that is going to help you walk away when things aren't right, because your ego is going to need to prove to you or prove to the other person why things should have went differently, right? It keeps you from trying to force the chemistry. It's like, oh, I know I'm such a great catch and she'll see it. Or if I do X, Y, and Z, I know she'll like me or she'll respect me. If I no, dog, you're trying to get somebody to act a certain way that they weren't naturally. That's manipulation. So if you're not moving with your ego, you can also notice red flags without trying to change them, like without thinking you can do something to make somebody be a better person or a nice person or a loyal person. You can't. So if you're humble enough to know there's nothing that I should have to do or say to make you be a better person, then you'll be able to walk away from situations, even if you feel like you've already invested. Because I'll say this, I know that dudes, once you feel like you've invested into a relationship, especially, you feel me, and you've actually opened up and became vulnerable, you'll be like, dang, dog, I spent so much bread. Like, I can't just leave now. Like, we only 3 months in, 4 months in, I've already opened up to her. Like, and then you say, it's okay. And you start to disrespect yourself because you want to prove that it can work because you've already overinvested. If you're truly being humble about the situation, you would say, wow, maybe I'm trying to force an outcome. Maybe I'm trying to prove that what I thought I wanted is what I want, when it's showing me clear signs that this isn't good for me. If you're humble, you'll be able to admit your wrongs and your faults way easier and way quicker than if you're trying to hold on to what it is in your head that you think that you want, even though in real life it's showing you this might not be what's best for me. And humility is going to help you and make you say, I know who I am and what I'm capable of and what I bring to a relationship. I'm not okay with being disrespected. So I'm okay with taking these things to another table and being alone until I find one. Humble men don't tolerate things that they don't like. They don't tolerate disrespect. And so a humble man who has confidence doesn't try to make noise about things. They'll just move differently. They'll assess the situation and remove themselves if necessary, right? If they're getting some resource from you, they're going to find a way to replace that resource, or they're going to find the way to remove themselves from having to interact with you in real time, but keep the right rapport in order to get the resource, right? I'm not going to fight you to feel respected. I'm not going to fight you to be at peace with you. If I have to argue with you in order to feel safe, then this isn't safe. This doesn't work. If you're not coming from a place of humble humility, and being okay with stepping away from things because you have to be right, or you can't be taken advantage of, or you have to prove to the other person, or you have to get them back, or no one treats me like that. This is coming from a place of pride and ego and needing to prove some type of point, whether it's proving to yourself you're not going to be taken advantage of, or you're just as strong as someone else, or if it's proving to the other person that they're not able to do these things to you. Sometimes people continue to put themselves in harm's way, and I just mean that by negative relations with people, because they want to prove a point to the person. Sometimes the point they want to prove is that I'm better than you, or that I can do everything that you can do. So they'll stay around just so you can see the things that they're doing and accomplishing, and they don't like you at all, and they don't benefit from being around you, and you don't benefit from being around them, but they get to compete with you, and they don't even tell you that they're competing. You feel me? So all of that just sounds like a bunch of extra headache, thinking, and work to me. I don't have time to compete with I don't have time to compete with anybody else or anything that other people are doing, because I'm so focused on making what I'm doing work, whether that's being in a relationship with somebody, whether that's working on my business, like whether it's working on my health. I'm not trying to compete with you. Like, I'm not trying to prove to you, if you don't want to be with me, all these other women do want to be with me. Ooh, go be with them. Like, that's what, if I was trying to act like that with a woman, I would expect her to say, well, if all those other women want you, that's fine. So if you start acting like all these other dudes want me, that's fine. Then don't be over here with me. If you know they want you and you want them too, like, you just making both of us have to do more work. You're making me do more work to be what you want, and you're making yourself do more work to not be outside. Like, or you're trying to balance me and them, which don't do it. You feel me? So real connection isn't a flex. It's not trying to prove anything. It's not trying to overpower anything. It's not trying to one up anything, right? It just flows naturally. And a humble man with self-respect is dangerous, because you don't try to manipulate things yourself, and you're not able to be manipulated. You're not able to be manipulated with sex, with somebody's ego, with somebody giving you attention, with somebody speaking sweet nothings in your ear. Oh, you're so great. You're so wonderful. You're so handsome. Like, you already know you're great. You already know you're wonderful. You already know you're handsome. And you, even if you don't, you're not looking for your ego to be inflated. You're not looking for the ego at all. You're just trying to be the best version of yourself and do as well as you can, right? And you can still be great. I look at Steph Curry. People will say Steph Curry is humble. He still celebrates. He's still a billion, or I'd say billionaire. He's still a millionaire. He's still a wildly successful athlete. He still has a very attractive wife. He's not running around telling people, look at me, I'm the best ever, right? He's a humble man. There's nothing wrong with that. And it doesn't take away from your accolades, right? If you want to level up with somebody, you have to get your heart and your mind clear. You have to get your heart right, get your mind clear, and get your ego in check. You have to stay grounded. You have to be honest, and you have to be humble. There are plenty of, I just want to say, celebrities that we have seen fall because they weren't humble, because they were so, I'm the best this, I'm the biggest that, I'm the first to ever do this, but they weren't actually building relationships with. I know for a fact that I've seen plenty of fallouts happen just because someone didn't like the way someone kept talking down to them, and they were on the same playing field. And it's like, dog, you just ruined an opportunity because you kept inflating yourself over everybody else when you're all doing the same job, or you're all doing the same work. Like, what makes you think that you're God's gift to this whole project when we're all doing equal shares? So remember, being humble is like a superpower, especially if you stay grounded and you stay rooted, because you'll just be ready to move when the time is ready, whether that's by taking charge or whether that's disconnecting, because you'll be listening as opposed to trying to prove something or act from a sense of, I'm in control, I'm in charge, I'm the powerful one. And it might even open you up to opportunity, because if you walk around like you're in charge all of the time and like you got it, it doesn't leave room for anyone to offer you anything or try to help you out, because you're the one in charge and you got everything, right? So once you step back and you leave people the room to be in charge or to show you what it is that they do, you might find more connection and more networking abilities, possibilities, and capabilities, because someone will see, well, if they're doing this, that means that they might need help with this, as opposed to if you say, I'm the man, I have this, and this that popping, and I'm on top of everything, they're going to assume you don't need any help. Or if you're humble and you can be honest with yourself with where you are in the process, you might attract more along the way. Drop an emoji in the comments if you're on your growth wave, like and subscribe, Tap in weekly. We over here building better men, not just better players. I want you to be able to talk to any woman, but I also want you to be able to not talk just because you see a woman. You feel me? And that's another thing that comes with being humble, because the older I got and the more I realized that I'm able to just have good rapport with women very easily, I've realized that I can't just talk to everybody the way that I want to. And I just mean that in the sense that I've had people think that I was interested in them or think that I like them like that just because of the level of connectivity we were able to get to. And I had to be real with myself and be like, all right, dog, I could try and take a lot of these situations further than I was interested in doing, just because I've had 1, 2, 3 interactions that all I did was, from being able to build the rapport, it wasn't as hard to move into a romantic connection. And once I realized I'm only doing certain things that are normal about my personality, I could have let that inflate my ego and said, let me see how many women I can attract. Or every time I meet a woman and start having a conversation, out of needing to feed that ego, I might try to push it into a romantic or relational or even just physical state. I don't do that because I don't need to, because I know that if I wanted to, I could try to explore that avenue, and that more times than not, it works out in my favor. So why am I going to do this? What is the purpose? What is the point? And what am I gaining from it other than the acknowledgement to myself that I could? I feel like if a lot of men moved with that mindset, there'd be way less chasing of women, way less competing for women, and way less men who are mad at women when it comes to dating. I feel like a lot of the men who are mad at women when it comes to dating is because they were doing things for the attention, for the time, for the affection, and now they feel dumb. And I can't lie. I've been that guy, but that's when I had to remove my ego. I had to take a step back and look at the reasons why my life was going the way that it was and why I felt like the situations were playing out the way they were. And most of the time is because something in me wanted to show up a certain way other than how I already was arriving. Whether that was I wanted to be more thoughtful, so I was getting something, or I wanted to stand out, so I was going somewhere, or I wanted to be more prepared, so I was buying some different clothes. Like, it's all different reasons, and part of it is okay because we all want to show up our best. We all want to look good. We all want to show the person that we care about that we're willing to do things with and for them. But when are you doing this, and why are you doing this, and how often are you doing this? You have to make sure it's rooted in the right reasons. Sometimes it's not rooted in wanting to show the person you care about them. It's wanting to show them what you're able to get by being around me. These are the things you can get if you're with me. Like, that's ego. That's trying to, I don't know. It is what it is, because there's room for it. You can't really build a relationship with someone if you're not able to show them what you're able to bring to the relationship. But there's levels to it and there's reasons for it. As long as the reason for it is coming from a rooted, grounded place and is not trying to impress or trying to show off, then go ahead. You feel me? But this one is for the boys. I do it for y'all, and I need y'all to start doing it for yourselves. Show up, stay humble, stay respectful, stay powerful, stay positive. I'll see you in the next one.